Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
Tiara.
Hey.
And Terrence.
What's up?
All right, guys, we're back. This is episode 241, The Banker. I almost said the wrong name. Look, this is the 2020 film starring Anthony Mackie, Samuel L. Jackson, Nicholas Hoult, and Nia Long. It is sort of a retelling of true events, inspired by true events, I guess, about two men, Joe Morris and Bernard Garrett, the first African-American bankers in the United States. And this takes place in California, or Los Angeles specifically, and in Texas. This is directed by George Nolfi, who directed The Adjustment Bureau, if you've ever seen that movie. Which apparently isn't good. So,
is that an action movie? Or is this
I think more like a suspense kind of thing. I just remember Barack Obama giving Matt Damon a hard time about it not being good once. That's all I needed to know.
Damn, the president said the movie's not good, Joe.
Like, Matt Damon apparently said, like, I don't think Barack Obama's doing as well as I'd hoped. And he was like, well, I saw The Adjustment Bureau, so I think maybe you should, like, quiet down. It was during a roast or some shit. So, yeah, this movie, I guess I'll go first. This is what I like to call, like, innocent racism. This is the type of movie, Micah messaged me today and said, and I think this is 100% correct, this is the type of movie white people love. In our group. Yeah. Like, look, this movie, I think this is what white people like to imagine racism was like. Just a couple of, like, inconvenient looks, and maybe you had to, like, black people got stopped from doing what they want to do for, like, 5 minutes. But then, because they were really clever and hardworking, they just got around it, and everything worked out in the end. And, you know, maybe the word nigger was thrown in there, but, like, they didn't really mean it, because they're good people deep down, right? That's what type of movie this is. I think Anthony Mackie and Samuel L. Jackson, especially, are too good for movies like this. Both of them are good to very, very good actors. I like the story. Like, the historical story of it is cool. Like, it's an interesting story in and of itself. But this movie is directed by a white man, and that is incredibly obvious. It's generic. It feels generic. It feels by the numbers. Like, everything feels by the numbers. Even their, like, costuming feels like it came out of a Hollywood closet. Like, it doesn't, nothing about it feels weighted or serious at all. This shit is whack. like, it is. The story's good, but this shit is whack. Like, this movie is whack. I didn't hate it, but this story is whack. Like, this movie is whack.
Oh shit, that's funny.
Look, this movie is it's not as bad as The Help, right? It's not as bad as another movie that someone is going to compare this to.
You don't know.
You don't know that.
But it is it's not good. I agree with you. The story, the actual story that this is inspired by is incredibly interesting. And Anthony Mackie he's a good actor. He really is. And he's doing what he is supposed to do in this movie. And I think people forget that Sam Jackson is a good actor because, like, he's Sam Jackson, right? Like, he's just, like, cool. But no, when Sam Jackson is a very good actor that should be taken seriously as an actor and not just the dude that screams motherfucker and nigger in Quentin Tarantino movies, right? He's a very good actor.
He steals every single scene he's in this movie. To me.
Absolutely. Like you said, the story is good, but I don't need to see a story about these two quite metaphorically magical Negroes teaching a white man how to be a white man. And like, I get it, right?
It would be like a white guy teaching, you know what? Go ahead.
Like, the only color that matters is green.
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
If you can walk into the bank to fucking get it,
Right. Okay. Okay.
you know.
You could-
Also, like you can overcome racism and adversity if you are a mathematical and statistical genius.
If you have a beautiful mind.
If you have a beautiful mind, if you are if you
Not
have
your face.
a way about people that you are that you are clairvoyant and you can see something in people, right? Or if you're a white guy. That's how you can overcome racism.
Or if you're just a mediocre white man.
mediocre white guy that can remember a couple of lines. If you're an actor, if you're an average actor, you can overcome racism. So yeah, this movie is not it's, and I hate not recommending it because, you know, I think the story is interesting, and, you know, I've seen clips of Anthony Mackie and Sam Jackson talking about how this story needs to be told. But, you know, that's their job also, is to hype the movie. So, yeah, I don't necessarily recommend it. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but boy, if it got nominated for any awards, I'd be livid.
Oof. You know what? Let's go to Tiara, then we'll go to Terrence.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wonder if when Sam Jackson and Anthony Mackie were going back and forth from LA to Texas, did they need like a certain colored book to make sure they were traveling safely?
They clearly didn't have it. You know.
All right. So I've seen this movie twice officially.
Wow.
Wow.
Right, you
Wow.
picked this. You picked
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I
this.
you had
picked this
seen it
'cause I
before?
Yeah, I'd seen it before. And I was
Yeah,
like,
she wanted to bring this to
And
all
you
of
decided
us.
to watch it twice?
Sure. And the thing is, I almost didn't watch it a second time because I was like, I remember everything that happened, right? And I'm so glad I watched it because otherwise I would have been here like, yeah, guys, that's exactly what happened. Um, um, I love Anthony Mackie in this movie, and I like Sam Jackson in this movie, and I like Nia Long in this movie. But
Listen to that cast, yo. That cast is so good.
All three of them are too good. All three of them are too good for this movie. Frankly, Nicholas Hoult is too good.
Nicholas Hoult is too good for this movie.
He's too good for this movie. Ridiculous.
I do think it's one thing I was just thinking about was Anthony Mackie's character is so naive for a guy that was born and raised in racist ass Texas, and then you have Samuel Jackson's character, who is the LA semi grown up with a more liberal part of the US, telling Anthony Mackie about how racist white people are and how duplicitous they can be, and kind of like pointing out Anthony Mackie's own like naivete. I was like, why are they written this way? Like, why is Anthony Mackie or Bernard so optimistic about the world supposed to be working a certain way? Like, there are laws that are supposed to, or like how the law is supposed to treat people fairly, or how he could just, I don't know, buy a bank and start giving out loans to black people in his racist ass hometown. I'm like, that seems, I don't know if that's what the real Bernard or whatever, if he actually believed that, but I'm like, that's awfully naive of him. And why do you need Samuel Jackson to tell him that? This movie is 2 hours of racism light, and definitely digestible for white people. Yeah, I don't know if I'll watch this again unless
third time.
No, I won't be watching this again. But like I said, I do like Anthony Mackie in this, and I really like Samuel Jackson in this, and I agree that Sam Jackson should be taken more seriously as an actor. But this is yeah. And I think like it could have gone a little bit deeper when talking about like housing segregation, especially in places like LA, because they made a point to mention that at the end, but they didn't exactly kind of go into, I think, the more unsanitized parts of racial segregation, even in more critical liberal parts like this.
Yeah, you know what they did do instead? They did something that The Big Short did, but The Big Short did it well. They get into the weeds of banking. And they talk about like what I'm not a banker, but they talk about like the ins and outs of, you know, subprime loans and whatever, right? Like they're talking about the minutia of banking, and it's boring. It's boring, you know.
Yeah,
like and The Big Short knew that. That's why they had a hot chick talk about that stuff in a scene, because like you're not going to pay attention because it's just two ugly dudes talking about like numbers.
Yeah, get Margot Robbie in a bathtub. Okay, then I'll listen to the numbers. Whatever, who cares?
You think they should have had Nia Long explain?
That would have also been fine. I would have been fine with that.
I would have preferred it.
I'd have been able to recite back what she said. Like, first off, the numbers are correct. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Terrence.
So, well, you all three of you already know. I think everyone has listened to us talk about movies for the last
I have my
5
notes.
years. Know exactly which movie that you guys already. Yeah, it's Green Book in reverse. That's what the fuck it is. You're correct. I can't see that. But there it is. Yeah,
there it is. I tried to scribble it
in reverse. Exactly. You should have been like Bret Hart. But this movie is not good. I mean, it's not as bad as Green Book, but I got Green Book vibes from it, and it was irritating me to my core. If we did not have to do this movie, I would have turned it off and went to the Wikipedia page of the two niggas that it was about and read the story instead of finishing the movie. Because
I pulled a TR, it was that bad.
Yeah, I'd be like, fuck that. I can't watch this.
I did try to look at the Wikipedia today, and I was like, oh, not a lot of information here. I guess I'll finish watching.
I just found a book on like Audible or something about these niggas. You know you're in for a treat when I don't know if it was my copy of the movie, but you know you're in for a treat when there's 7 different production companies and like 5 of them are Asian.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
I was like, wait. I'm like, hold up. Is this the right movie? I thought I was watching the wrong movie at first. Like, oh shit.
Look, that is 100% a sign that a movie is not good. If it has more than like 3 production companies, you'll let it go. Like it's so
I'm like, why does this movie have so many Asian production companies? Like,
they couldn't get anyone else to spend the money to make it.
What's happening right now? And then it started. I'm like, this looks like a BET Plus movie, and I'm already like, okay. And then it's like it got like incrementally better as the movie went along. As far as like, I don't know, it was weird. Everyone in this movie was too good for it. The story is what kept me going. Yeah, white people don't need to make movies about racism because they don't. Like Garrett said, like, why was this nigga that was born in Texas so fucking trusting of white people?
Makes no sense.
He's like, yeah, like I feel like there's good in everyone. And this nigga that was born with money was like, nah, white people ain't shit.
And black people. That's he also
and black people ain't worth.
Which also
like
that line was fucking hilarious to me. Like he was like, I don't trust white people. I don't trust black people either. It's like I don't trust nobody.
Right. You can't trust anybody when it comes to money, to be perfectly honest with you. But
I mean, that felt like a director's note, right? Like, right. You gotta. Well, hold on.
Both
now.
sides.
Hold on.
We gotta
now.
both sides.
We gotta.
We gotta all both sides. Many bad people on both sides.
Yeah.
And then the poor white character. Oh, anybody that got a car is rich to me. I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing. Fuck off. Like, I didn't like, appreciate it. I didn't like it. Didn't like it.
Would you have a problem working for me? What do you mean? Like, you know what he means.
Like, you know what the fuck he means.
The black man.
Shit like that. I was like,
right. There's a black man telling you what to do. Knock it off, yo. It's not 1995, yo. Like, come on.
Right. It was like 1958 or some shit like that. Fucking.
Yeah,
anyway, this movie is not worth. I don't bother. Like, read the story of these two guys if you're gonna like. Nah. And it's sad because again, this whole cast is really good. but they were just they couldn't even elevate this fucking stupid ass movie.
No,
that's unfortunate.
No. I mean, look, I think to your point, Terrence, white people directing, especially historical black conversations, is a really bad idea. Like, because you are centering your perspective on something that you were not a part of, right? I don't mean like quite literally like you, the director, weren't a part of it. Obviously not. But like the perspective of these characters is that these are two black men pushing against not only like banking regulation, but trying to empower a community via economic equality. What the fuck do you know about that? Like, okay, you could say like, well, maybe the Irish had a hard time. Sure, I guess. But even they got a chance to build generational wealth. Black people, quite literally, still deal with this, right? Baltimore is one of the most, where I am, was one of the most famous red line cities in the country, right? Like, so it's a little weird. It's, I don't have such a hard line of like, only black people can direct black people. Like that I think is a little silly and a little extra. But when it comes to telling like black historical stories, I'm going to need a moratorium on white people directing any of this. Because you're really, really bad at doing it. And also you use modern sentiment and apply it to 1965 America. You can't fucking do that. Well, a white woman's like, I don't like that a black person owns my building. I'm going to move. You know how many niggas he would have been called working in that building? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, the fact that she's like, what are you doing here? Is actually, like, when she first meets him, is a bullshit response. Because she wouldn't have even noticed them because they were just working on a building. Because that's their fucking job. Right? Like, she would have been like, hey, what are you black fellas doing here? Like, that's not how white people would have reacted at the time. It would have been like, I don't give a fuck. Like, going back to, the Spook Who Sat by the Door. Like that idea that black people as janitors or chauffeurs or maids or, that sort of thing, they're not even noticed by white people in that era. But like, you wouldn't get that because you're a white guy and you're trying to formulate a interaction that wouldn't have existed in that way. Stop doing these movies. For fuck's sake, please stop. You look dumb. It looks terrible. And it is terrible. Again, this movie is whack. Like it just
wasn't Bernard Garrett's son involved in this film?
Was he? What's his name?
I think he was. I think I read that like he was involved for a little bit, but then he got accused of like doing something.
Yeah, there was some like weird.
I think it was sexual assault.
Yeah, it was some like sort of weird sexual assault thing. Yeah.
Christ, man.
Again.
Come on.
By the way, it's been almost 3 weeks. Still haven't seen that tape.
Yeah, what the fuck's going on with that nigga? Like
we didn't forget, nigga.
Like, yeah, no one's gonna forget. They're gonna see your civil rights face and be like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Hope you find your lawyer. Decided to release those pics.
Yeah, you better hurry up.
Maybe he would have elevated this movie. I don't know, but they did touch on like the costume, like the uniform act at like the very end of the movie.
Yeah, which is why it's maddening that at the beginning, like Jay said, like this woman just happened to notice and acknowledge them. Like,
yeah, it was so weird. Because they couldn't walk into the bank unless they were like janitors or fucking chauffeurs and shit like that. But they never said why until like the last 3 minutes of the movie.
And by the way, he fucking does earlier on. He's in a suit, comes in. How you do? Can I get an appointment? They're like, go fuck yourself. And he's like, I can see the guy. Oh, that was in LA. But still.
Yeah, in Texas, he wouldn't have been.
In Texas, yeah, maybe not. That's true.
But you know what's funny? Because in the later part of the movie, when they do go to Texas and how they dress up, or even in LA when they dress up as janitors and chauffeurs and stuff, no one pays attention to them. But yet the woman in the beginning, like, is like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here from LA. 8 or whatever.
Fuck.
So it's
fucking weird.
It's like they almost forgot that they had that scene in the beginning.
Yeah, and they tossed that shit in at the end. They just, I don't know, let's just tie this shit up, right? Like it felt lazy. I agree with Terrence. It doesn't look very good. It looks overly polished. And this is a shame because this is gonna sound like really stereotypical, but like someone like Ryan Coogler should have directed a movie like this. like a little known black story, and he would have dug the fuck in on it, and he would have made it more about like. There's no sense of Mackie or Jackson's characters having much of an arc, except for this like minor conversation they have right before they go into the courtroom, like. Right. Yeah, you had me dead to rights. Yeah, I used to think you were an asshole. I'm a different type of asshole. All right, let's end the movie. Let's wrap this shit up. Get paid.
He took off his glasses, Jay.
Oh,
he
right,
took off
right.
His glasses.
Maybe that's what Van Jones needs to do. Maybe he just needs to take off those fucking glasses.
No, he needs to have those glasses smacked off his face on national television. Simple. Oh, my pappy in trouble.
He looks sad.
He looks like a sad grandpa. I don't like the prison. Shut up.
It really irritates me. God damn.
I'm telling you, if I had the wherewithal, and somebody better at Photoshop than me, you can Photoshop Van Jones's face on Steven holding Calvin Candy when he's dying. He's crying and shit.
I feel like that's been done. I can't imagine it probably hasn't already been done.
Good. But look, it's ridiculous to me. But I need there to be a moratorium on white people directing these historical black stories. Like, you're not good at it. You're not. Like, it doesn't mean you can't direct black people and tell black stories maybe in the modern era. But historical black stories, it's not for you, yo. It's not for you. That's like getting a conservative straight dude to tell like stories of like, you know, trans history. Like, I don't want to watch that movie either.
It's like black people. It's like a black person directing a movie about Vikings. Like, what the fuck do we know about Vikings?
Well, right.
Like, what the fuck?
Right. Like, but like centering. But the problem is, to that point, centering our culture with our modern sentiments about what a Viking is not gonna work. It's not gonna be exactly accurate. Right. It's gonna seem
they're not
weird.
Gonna be right. It's gonna be it's gonna be a black dude directing a bunch of black dudes in purple uniforms in Minnesota. Like, that's what we know about Vikings.
So, the closest you're gonna come.
I would say it feels almost like a waste to have like Anthony Mackie and Sam Jackson starring alongside each other, because I like seeing them act alongside each other. They're really great.
They have some fun scenes together. Yeah. Nah, this is a waste of everyone's talent. Everyone wasted their time, and it's not because they weren't good. It's just because the script is bullshit.
It was written by 4 people.
Well, that's
4 people, and the story was written by 3
screenwriters.
Okay, so
this is doomed for failure.
Yeah, I'm not going to look up the other 3 people who worked on the screenplay besides the director, but my guess is the collective amount of melanin is quite low between those 4 people. Yeah,
we got a Nicole Levy.
No,
all right, we already know.
Might be a globalist. George Nolfi.
It's not acceptable.
Sorry. I apologize.
What's the rating? What did it get? How many? Like, did people like this?
No, I don't think they did.
Like this movie. No, people like this movie.
What?
People like this movie.
What people?
This movie's getting well, what did I say?
79% on Rotten Tomatoes. All right, yo. Rotten Tomatoes is racist.
Also,
tomatoes are very white. I don't care for it. The banker's timid approach.
You already know.
Yeah, exactly. Timid.
Also, okay, just I'm not a fan of how
audience.
I don't like how they had that scene at the end with Anthony Mackie testifying, clearly willing to go to prison. It felt like, because I'm like, why would the thought of a black man testifying like that, knowing that he's going to go to prison, kind of like accepting his fate, it did not sit right with me. Even though there is a critical happily ever after, it still just felt I didn't like it.
I don't know what happened in that courtroom. Yeah, they don't say that. Like, how long
years did he get? Yeah, it was like, he's out, he's free, he's going to Jamaica or whatever the fuck. When
The Bahamas.
The Bahamas.
He was there long enough to grow a goatee, Terrence.
Yeah.
Also, the side, like looking at the sideburns, I was like, "Were you filming as Falcon when you did this scene?" Because
probably was.
It's a year out from Endgame, so yeah, it was. He was like, because he's like way too jacked in this movie. Like, yo, why are you so big, dog? Like
nigga, you like numbers. Knock it off.
Like, I'm looking at Samuel Jackson's I'm like, I think you still have some of that prosthetic scar, like, right.
Yeah, they came right off the set. They're like, let's just get this shit done. Like, come on. It's gonna be a week. Let's go. I just bought a new boat. That's got to get paid for. Yeah, look, this movie's not good.
And it's 2 hours long. The movie.
It definitely did not need to be 2 hours. No way. No. This could have been a hot 90 minutes. Frankly, I'd have taken 115. Couple of YouTube clips.
Right.
Garrett and Morris were sentenced. They were sentenced for 3 years, and they served 9 months.
Okay.
So there you go.
That's not so bad.
They were in jail for 9 months.
And they got out and they went to the Bahamas and they tried to run a little marina where they had owned some property down there. And then just as they were getting ready to expand, they couldn't, or they were getting ready to buy a bank in the Bahamas. Their prior conviction in the U.S. stopped them. So the
that for real?
fucked them again. Yeah, for real. And the system fucked them. And so then they moved back to the United States. That would have been a really cool, interesting thing to put in at the end of the movie. You know, their entire fucking story. Since you just did the fucking 80s pause and then give me the fucking text because you were too lazy to show it. Why don't you tell the whole story?
Someone doesn't care about desegregation in Los Angeles neighborhoods in the Fair Housing Act.
Think about it. All right, so the film starts out 1954. We see Bernard Garrett go to see his in-laws, or I guess it's the uncle of his wife, and he's like, oh, you know, you can work down at the factory or whatever with me, or the real doing whatever. And he's like, no, I'm gonna get into real estate. And he's like, niggas in real estate, okay, buddy. And it's like the classic thing. They told me I couldn't do it, so I had to do it. That's how, like, all right, we got it. You're very smart. Everybody's wearing glasses. That's how you know everyone's really smart. And so he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And look, guess what? He drops his nephew off at some shitty factory job where he meets Nicholas Hoult, who is a mediocre white man. And he's like, hey man, your uncle's really rich. He's got a car. That's impossible for a nigger. Black person these days. Am I right? And he was like, yeah, that's my cousin. And yeah, it's just a car. Like, relax. And he was like, oh, one day I hope I'll be rich like your cousin. And it's like, gee, I wonder if that's the guy they're going to talk to later. Again, who wrote this? So that Salt and Pepper team, they walk off screen.
4 fucking people. 4 fucking people.
4 people.
One person wrote that down, and the other 3 people were like, nailed it. Let's move on. Fucking pathetic. So then we see Bernard Garrett, played by Anthony Mackie, going around, not looking odd at all, walking around these white neighborhoods, looking to buy.
You're staking out houses as a nigga.
Yeah.
That doesn't look weird at all, right?
Yeah, this dude who looks like he's ready to play D1 football, so walking around in a fucking suit,
Shit out of this dude.
Shopping
like, what
around.
are you doing, nigga?
So he's looking at apartment buildings to buy. Look, this part is actually, again, the real story is actually quite impressive, right? This guy, he's like brilliant with numbers. He's like a statistical kind of, whiz. And so he ends up looking to buy these places. He then realizes that he doesn't have enough money to buy one of the apartment buildings that he's really got his eye on. So his wife introduces him to this guy she knows, Joe Morris, played by Samuel L. Jackson, who like owns a club, and he's like, he kind of a scumbag. And look, Samuel L. Jackson is having a fucking blast in this role. Like, he is. Look, for all the shit in this movie, Samuel Jackson is having a real good time. And so I think he enjoys like being a dick, especially against Anthony Mackie's like real straight edge kind of character. So that's kind of fun for him. And so she's like, oh, he can be your co-investor. And he's like, that man's a degenerate. And, he ain't, he's not a good person or whatever. And like Samuel Jackson's like, whatever, nigga. I don't give a fuck. Like, I got money. So then, for some reason, the Falcon meets the dude from Star Trek, Cole Meany. And he's an Irishman, very Irish. And he's like, look, how about how about you loan me some money and so that I can go buy this building and you can invest in it.
Hey guys, did you know that the Irish were slaves too?
Damn it, Micah. I was going to say the same thing.
That's why he's there.
I'm just a dirty Irishman, so I understand how you feel.
Look, I don't know if this guy existed. I don't know if he was Irish, but I just know that the Irish were slaves too. So
They were slaves.
Slaves.
He was a slave.
Yeah.
I mean, white people love it. They love to point out that Irish people were slaves at one point or indentured servants or what have you. It's like, that's cool. But remember when you guys were like, they're not white and you treated them like dog shit and then you were like, you're white now and then you stopped? Yeah. Right. How'd that work out for anyone else? Oh, right. It didn't. Like, get the fuck out of here. Shut up. It was the Irish and the Italians. That was it.
Like, as you're going through the movie, I'm looking at all of these fresh reviews of this movie, and it's really irritating me. But I'm looking at one.
Are these critic reviews?
Yeah, these are all critic reviews.
What these critics look like?
Why is this name familiar to me? Who was Jamie Broadnax? Why is that name familiar?
Oh. You don't know who that is? It's a black chick, right?
Yeah.
You know,
fresh.
Yeah, okay, she's the one who scammed everybody out of their money for that.
Yeah. Oh, Universal Fan Con. Oh, she likes this movie.
That's her.
I'm reading a review of this movie. She enjoyed it.
She enjoyed it.
There you go. Scammers like this movie, guys.
Fitting.
That's hilarious. Have you ever ripped off other black people for a fake con? Then you'll love this movie too.
Hey, look, you know what?
That's hilarious.
Hearing that person's name, I totally understand why Samuel Jackson said, I don't trust black folks either, because I would not trust her with anything.
No. I wouldn't trust her with your credit card. That's all I'm saying. Can I get a refund?
Oh, God.
Wobbly lace, nigga. Bye. Get out. Yeah, that's wild. She liked this movie. Well, that's good. I mean, I know her podcast is popular, but I wouldn't listen to her fucking movie reviews. So anyway, Bernard goes into the bank. By the way, the Irish guy, he blows him off. He's like, look, I'm not going to give you money so you can get this building and I invest in it. Because basically, who the fuck are you? I don't trust you, which is a valid point, right? You shouldn't trust anyone.
Yeah, I don't know you.
Right. And so Bernard is like, okay. I'm going to go into the bank that you deal with, right? He sees like a little banking sign or some like a card or whatever, or like a calendar in his office. So he's like, all right, I'm going to go to that like mid-city bank or whatever. Goes down there, asks to speak to Mr. Reed, I guess one of the bank managers. And his secretary is like, he's not in. And Mackie's like, my eyesight's pretty good. I can see him right over there. He's sitting at his desk. And he's like, well, you need an appointment. He was like, all right. Nah, I don't have a message. I don't have an appointment. Like, whatever. And so he just waits till the guy goes outside. Again, he comes up to this white man randomly outside, and the white man is like, yeah, sure, let's have a regular conversation. This is exactly how a conversation with a white rich banker and a random nigga from Texas would go in America in the 60s. I'm surprised he didn't turn around and was like, police officer, and then 4 Irishmen in uniforms just beat Anthony Mackie half to death in the streets of LA. Knock it off. Again, does anyone remember American history? No? All right, cool, whatever. So he's like, hey, man, I'm dealing with one of your clients, and I'm trying to get this loan. And the guy's like, all right, well, that's interesting. I'm going to leave. And then he goes, like, that's what happens. He's like, well, that's interesting, black man. You make a compelling argument. And then life moves on. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, smash cuts to him in his house. He's like, huh, smash cut. Oh, all right, well, we know how that went. Fuck off.
I guess it went fine. Whatever. No conflict at all. And, you know, the Irish dude calls him and he's like, hey, man, do you think it was cool to, like, use my name in your business practices when you go talk to the guy in the bank? And Anthony Mackie is like, well, you know, it's a free country, I guess. And he's like, that's not what the fuck I asked you. Which I'm like, you know, take the bass out your voice. Like, relax. I'm a grown-ass man, too. And he's like, nah, I guess it's not a good business practice. He's like, well, Mr. Reed wants to give you the loan because I'm vouching for you, and I'm going to be your guarantor because you got chutzpah, kid, and you know that's better than racism. Again, in 1960s America, having chutzpah as a black dude got you on. Shut the fuck up, yo. Shit is fucking insulting. It's insulting.
Now you know how I feel about the fucking about Green Book. I feel like you hate this movie.
They used to lynch niggas for having chutzpah. Yo, they used to lynch.
Wait, so y'all didn't take it as a compliment that because he didn't adhere to business customs or whatever that
Wait, was that your cold meat?
Was that your Irish brogue? Was that your Irish brogue?
Wow. That's a hell of an accent.
So I guess I didn't take that as a compliment.
Shit.
No, I didn't take it as a compliment at all. No.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like, that shit is insulting, yo. Like, you can if you just work hard, everything will work out. Like, yo, if that was the case, black people would have been ahead 100 years ago. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So they're like, we're going to give you the loan. Congratulations, black man. You're well on your way. And he's like, yay, I did it. They go to a local Negro club. And his wife, the beautiful Nia Long, is like, just enjoy it. Like, just enjoy this victory that you tricked these white people by working real hard and getting over the hump. And he was like, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. And then Samuel Jackson's like, hey, man, you want to smoke a cigar? And he's like, fuck you, dude. I don't smoke. And they have a very weird adversarial relationship. And Samuel Jackson, basically, the second phrase out of his mouth is, I'm not fucking your wife. Which I'm like, that's cool. Let me just uppercut your old ass right here. Like, why are we even having a conversation? But Samuel Jackson's just like a dick. Like, he's just fucking with him. And so he's like, listen, man, let's take a walk, right? And so they have this conversation. He's like, look, I like to see black men succeed, but you know, you're smart and you're ambitious, and I want to invest in what you got going on. And he basically kind of blows him off and says, like, listen, nah, I'm good. And he's like, again, I feel like you kind of fucking up, dog. Like, I'm trying to help you out. Then we get to that scene, a little after that scene, where Anthony Mackie, his cousin, and Nicholas Hoult are now working on the building that they bought with that loan. And the white lady who lived there got mad because Anthony Mackie and his cousin exist. And this is the closest to racism in the entire movie. And the cops come and they're like, hey, they're saying you act like you own this building. He's like, I do own the building. I just happen to keep a copy of the deed on me because it's the 1960s. That's the one thing this director got correct.
I honestly thought that the cops were going to rip that deed in half.
And then he immediately got it wrong because, like Tiara said, the cops didn't immediately set the shit on fire.
Right.
And be like, what deed?
Accepted it. I'm like, okay.
Huh, this actually looks legit. Okay, Negro.
And also, like it's not like, I mean, it still could have been fake because you still don't know that that's actually him. So like, but why would a few cops who are called upon by an old white lady just hold up to the sun and be like, I guess this is real. Be nice to your tenants. Like, no, they probably would have just like ripped it in half, set it on fire, and probably arrested him. That feels like the more.
I mean, frankly, I was waiting for them to be like, "Hey, that deed, that's really nice. Maybe you can soak up your blood that we're gonna take out of your fucking forehead right now." Like it wouldn't have gone that way. Again, what light touch racism bullshit is this? Oh, here's the deed, sir. Well, best of luck. Hope that chutzpah works out for you, Anthony. Like, get the fuck out of here, yo. No.
And I don't want it to come off like, I think I can speak for all of us. I don't want it to come off like we're wanting, black misery porn, right? Like this isn't something that like, oh yeah, we look forward to, boy, I can't wait to see the banker so I can see these two niggas get their heads kicked in by the cops, right? Like nobody's saying that, right? And that's not what the story's about. But it is what the story's about. Like, if you're gonna tell this story, like, just be a little more accurate about it. Like, it's movies like this that are just as detrimental to the idea of a conversation about race in modern society when you sanitize it as like it's not completely bleached, but like you threw a couple of Tide Pods in there and they kind of got the job done, right? Like you're sanitizing it. And that's just as bad as not teaching about MLK in his later years. That's just as bad as
even in his prime. They don't even teach that shit fully.
Right, they barely teach that. That's it's just as detrimental to me, man. Like if you're gonna tell this story, like tell it and have the balls to tell it. It's not like this movie was released in theaters, right? This was the first ever Apple TV Plus movie, right? This is the first movie that they produced.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
That's why it was that's why it was a big deal. And you could have really made a statement. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I guess I guess it wouldn't have gotten nominated at the 35th annual Golden Rooster Awards for Best Foreign Language Film.
Best foreign language film?
It's a Chinese award. It's
a Chinese award. Yo, wow.
Because a Chinese company helped make the movie, I guess.
Nigga, that's hilarious.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, like, but why? I would like to know why they help fund this movie.
The Chinese trying to fuck up. They trying to fuck our history up. That's my wild conspiracy theory. They're taking over Africa. They're taking over black movies. Look, this is I don't like that scene at all. Like again, like Micah said, we don't want misery porn. It's just the idea of two white cops walking up to a black dude who says he's the owner of a building that white tenants live in, and they're just like, well, next time you better be kind to your tenants. The idea of that is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Quite literally, I don't believe it.
Also,
it's just stupid.
There would have been a mob of white people if they found out that a black person suddenly owned their building. Not just one racist white lady, but like all the tenants would have been like, no. Or most of the white tenants would have been like, no.
They would have all moved out. They'd all moved out.
Not just that one lady.
No.
Like I know it's California and all. But I know it's California and all, but like, come on, yo.
It was still the 60s, yo. It's still the 60s.
And also, it's still white people. Like, wherever they are, racism is.
Yeah, yo. That to me, that is nothing shy of ludicrous to believe that. Like, it just is. Like,
when I was watching this, and also I started my rewatch literally 2 hours before we hopped on today. Like, while I was on my way home from work. But like, I at first I was like, oh, doesn't he buy the building and then like people find out he's the owner and then everyone moves out? Because I felt like that would have happened. and then he would have been challenged or tasked with the challenge of filling up those apartments again. But no, that's not what happened.
Yeah, I don't care for it. I don't care for it. Nah, those cops are ridiculous. That entire scene is fucking ridiculous. Then we see Anthony Mackie's character. He's walking into the building, and that white lady's like, "You can't be here after 6." Like, shut up, Karen. Knock it off. And he's like, "Yeah, but I'm a tenant because I'm moving in." And she's like, "Working on the building and owning it, that's bad enough. You niggas living here, gotta go. Beat it." So she immediately moves out. And hopefully on her way to whatever old folks home, she had a fucking heart attack and died.
Also, if like,
fuck her.
when she saw they were working on the building, like you already mentioned this, that she wouldn't have had that kind of reaction. She would have either ignored him, or she would have been like, "You need to come work on my apartment too." Like, she would have treated them like the help that they present themselves to be.
100%. Right. It like the idea that she would have even thought anything about them outside of just get the work done is silly to me. It's just absolutely silly.
Yeah, and they had a white man with them. Wasn't Nicholas Hoult there?
Yeah, he is there.
She probably would have spoke to him first.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, could you tell your 2 nigger trainees to get away from me?"
Yeah. And like, Nicholas Holt's character was like, he is the owner of the building, and the cops were like, "We weren't talking to you." I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting." I'm like, they wouldn't have. I'm like, they wouldn't have talked to him that way.
No, they would have, because I'm surprised they didn't call. I'm surprised they didn't. They were like,
nigger lover,
right? Keep your mouth shut, nigger lover. Like, wow, yo, I just work here, yo. Like, I just work here. Relax. Yeah, but like, look, white people hate black people. But they definitely hate white people who like black people. They're not a fan of that shit either. You're supposed to be on the team. What's your problem? So Cole Meany's character is like, "Listen, you're doing a really good job. Somehow you're clairvoyant about, seeing, the real, like the beauty behind these buildings and how we can rent them out to make so much money. Yeah, the beauty of giving other people who have money a chance to rent them. What a clairvoyance. How did you know black people want a place to live? That's crazy." So he's like, "Look, we could make a lot of money, me and you, like Irish and black. Like, think about it." And he's like, "The only problem is they can't see your black ass face." And he's like, "Look, I'm Irish and they treat me like shit, but they'll still do business with me. They won't do business with you." That's not ahistoric. So at least that's something. So they go into a handshake agreement. Never a good idea. Nah, I'm gonna need you to write that one
shit
down.
now. What the fuck? Don't do it now.
With anybody. Like, no. I don't trust you. And so they were going to go in 50-50. They bought a bunch of buildings. Shit was sweet. Everything was great. Then one morning, Miss Barker, the Irish dude's wife, went in to wake him up, and my man was dead. And she's like, "All right, well, I'm sad, but the first thing I'm going to do right after being sad is screw this nigger out of his money." And so she's like, "Look," she meets with a lawyer and Anthony Mackie, and she's like, "I'll give you 25 cents on the dollar for your properties to buy you out." Because she knows that they only have a handshake deal. And guess what? Even though that's a legal thing, nobody's going to believe Anthony Mackie in a American court of law in the 1960s. Not even sure they'd believe it in 2023, if we're being honest. So she's like, "Yeah, I'll give you." I think she said she'll up it to she'll up her offer to 25 cents.
Yeah, she'll up it to 25 cents.
Anything after that, I'll see you in court. And he's like, "Well, I'm not going to win that one, so I'll just come back and set your house on fire next week." I'd set that bitch's house. I don't know. I don't blew that fucking house up and shit like that. Can't prove it was me.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, so she screws him, and so he has nothing else to do. So then he decides that his next move is he's going to buy the bank or the building the banks are in downtown LA. And he cannot afford to do that on his own, though he has a lot of money at this point. He doesn't have enough to do the loan. So he goes to Samuel L. Jackson's character, Joe Morris, and he's like, hey, look, let's get into business together and go in and buy this building. And Morris is skeptical at best, and he's like, all right, cool. Convince me of how we're going to do this. And so he tells this plan of like, all right, like we're going to do all this, we're going to buy it. And then once we buy the building, we'll be able to get whatever loans we want to buy other buildings and other apartments, because those banks who are in our building and who are our tenants would now think twice about denying us a loan. That's kind of extortion, I feel like, but
yeah, like that doesn't seem,
that plan seems wild to me. Like it really does. Oh, you would deny us? Well, who's getting kicked out of here, Bank of America? Like, yo, wait, what? Like, come on. So that's a wild move.
I mean, we're gonna have to up your rent then. If you don't lend us the money for these other buildings, then we're gonna have to make it up somehow, and you gonna pay for it. Like a couple of slumlords, Like,
that's straight up extortion. Like it really is. Like, I'm not mad at it because it's clever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's definitely extortion.
Look, that's why they do it, right?
Yeah, that is correct. Now, Tiara, the younger generation, you have your finger on the pulse of the young people out there on social media. We're just three old niggas.
You're on social media as much as I am.
Yeah, but I hate it. That's
I don't know what that.
I hate it. Isn't it bad? Isn't it bad to be a landlord now? Like that's like, it's like owning property that people used to live on because they don't have the ability to buy their own house. That is right up there with like stabbing kids as far as the internet is concerned. It's the worst thing you can do is be a landlord. What's up?
I would just say, as a Los Angeles resident who is a renter, I would say, yeah, abolish landlords unless you want to give me money to
to buy a building.
To buy a building where I can rent out to other people, especially young Black folks such as myself, or anyone who wants to pay me money. Then yes,
that's why you
abolish.
That's why you ain't into. That's why you're not going to be good at real estate, because the first thing you want to do is help Black people and bring your property values down.
You gotta start.
It's jokes, guys. It's jokes.
You gotta start with the white people, man. Get your money.
Is it a joke?
No,
Is it?
no. Mike is being completely serious because he is a homeowner himself who brought down the property value in
his neighborhood. Yeah, he did. Well, that sounds like his neighbor's problem. That don't sound like his problem.
Look, hey.
Look, the neighbors right next to us, they moved. They were like, "Oh,
they got the fuck out of there."
Yo, we got to buy $1 million house now because fuck this.
Is that the little white girl? The little white girl that's across the street?
It sure is. It sure is. They moved.
Look, the second they heard there was a second bun in the oven, he was like, "They're expanding. Let's go. We got to get out of here." You know how those people do. 12 kids.
Hey, look, if they're not sure if there are any bankers in LA who listen to this podcast, but hit me up. Give me a loan so I can buy a home and then rent it out. And also if you need convincing, I have a yellow dog. She's very friendly with.
No, that's not collateral. That's not collateral.
White people love dogs.
No, she's crossover friendly.
Yeah, that's true.
Love her.
Yeah, because you don't have a dark. You don't have a dark fur dog. You have a light fur dog. What,
I used to have a black dog.
Yeah, she used to have a black
Yeah.
dog.
you have one now?
A black dog.
No,
You have one now?
Micah.
Oh, and then you moved
no,
to California.
my Labrador puppy, who is the sweetest girl in the whole world,
I like that shit.
makes people feel safe, and they are extra friendly for some reason. She jumps
I'm sure
on
it has
people.
nothing to do with the color of her fur.
Oh no,
I'm
it
sure
has
it has
everything to do with the
nothing to
color
do
of
with
her fur.
Yo, I'm
Everything
joking,
to
but
do
like,
with
is that for real?
No, that's a real thing, yo.
No, that's a real thing.
fucking
That's-
serious.
Like, people don't like
People
dark
love light-skinned
dogs?
No,
Micah,
they
yo,
think they're
my
fucking
last-
predators. Yo.
Micah.
Predator.
My
We're not joking,
last
Micah.
dog, like a cop almost put a gun on her in the vet, and she all black. Like, that is a true thing.
Yo,
Here's another story. And
Yo, that's how deep racism is, yo. It extends to dogs, yo. Not certain dogs, like, though it does. Like, yeah, like a Rottweiler, because that's like a nigga dog. But, like, I get that. But the fact that if the dog is black, yeah, people treat them
Micah.
different.
like the same
Micah,
breed of dog, but if one has dark fur and the other
Yes.
light fur,
Yeah, dude, that's a real thing.
Get the
Yes,
fuck
that's a
out of here.
But also, Micah, when I say that my dog jumps on people, like strangers, and I try to keep her from doing it, and people are just like, "It's okay, she can give me a hug." I'm like, you have no idea. She could be a maniac, but y'all just assume that she's sweet. She is, like, because of how she looks. Like, I'll never forget one time, and Terrence may remember this. But we were walking, and we saw there was a group of white folks who were talking.
Yeah.
And we walked by
literally
with my
stopped at the
dog,
window.
and they stopped to stare at her. It was fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, white
The
people are
black
fucking
dog?
odd. No,
No,
the
my-
light-skinned dog.
No, hell no. The black dog, they would have been like,
They probably
run.
would have ran across the fucking street.
Yeah,
Get that hellhound away from me.
like Micah, when I say I never get, like, people they smile, they're just so friendly because they see her
Yo,
in my hair.
All right, yo. All right. I'm actually really upset about that. I'm actually really mad at that.
That's true, dude. It's absolutely true.
Like, this is true.
Now my dog is black. My dog's black and white, but he's small. So like that
Right.
doesn't like. But when I had my boxer who was over 100 pounds, and he was a
Yo,
dope.
what?
It's just like
He's like droopy.
yeah, he was like a big dope. Like he was a super sweet dog. But because he was
That was
brown, yo,
so
they're like
cute.
can't trust it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Oh my god.
Like, I mean, I was me and my friend were walking, and he was dog sitting, and the dog he was dog sitting was a Rottweiler, like a 2-year-old Rottweiler. And when I tell you, he was the sweetest boy. Like, he was like walking behind my friend, like kind of nervous, and I saw like people stop and stare and like hold their dogs back, like, got him, and I'm like, this sweet little boy is just.
Well, look.
I mean, I get it, but it's just like.
There's a Rott. Okay, look. Me and Rottweilers, we got beef forever.
Oh, I know.
Right.
Forever. The whole
So
breed.
I don't trust Rottweilers. I don't give a fuck
But-
what them motherfuckers look like.
But my
Can't
my
even
baby,
can't
my
even grow a
dog.
full fucking tail. Can't even grow a full tail. That's why they pissed.
Well, I mean, oh. Well, I would say this.
Tail,
Um,
motherfuckers.
My
Fuck
my baby doesn't
What a
get those kinds
baseball
of reactions. She's welcome almost anywhere.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, when apartments have dog weight rules, I honestly just don't pay attention. I just apply. Or just take a bite anyway. So a picture.
Yeah,
My dog's light.
Your white,
My dog's
your white
light enough.
dog is
Don't
gonna
worry.
get in.
No, I mean, I literally had like prospective apartments say, "Oh no, she's fine. She looks sweet." I'm like, you have no idea.
She looks.
She could be a nuisance, but y'all just look at her and be like,
I love
It's okay.
the idea that you send a picture of the dog in before yourself, and they're like, "You got me." When they see you and shit, like, don't worry about it.
Did you? All right. Did you have to? Last thing on this. Did you have to teach your light furred dog how to golf? Did your black ass?
The proper
had to
term,
teach your white dog how to
is
golf?
red bone. Everyone knows. That.
no, but honestly, Micah, she doesn't need to learn how to do any of that because her job is just to be cute, and she knows it,
Yeah, living
and
privilege.
people just accept it.
All right.
Literally gets
Living
whatever
in
she wants. It's
dog
it's
privilege.
it's so interesting.
Gross. So Anthony Mackie and Samuel L. Jackson, or mostly just Samuel L. Jackson, they proceed to teach a white man how to play golf as they are training Nicholas Hoult's character to be like a high society white. And this obviously is reminiscent of Terrence's favorite scene where a black man is taught how to eat fried chicken in Green Book.
Yo, that's one of the most egregious things I've ever seen in cinema history. Yeah. And the fact that movie won an Oscar is just
No. It won Best
I've
Picture.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
would
not
it
just
would it
any
be more
Oscar.
That is
digestible?
One the best
so
Oscar.
offensive.
Yeah.
It's so offensive on so many levels, you know. Like, white people should be ashamed of themselves for giving that movie a fucking Oscar for Best Picture. That movie was
I have
garbage.
a question. Would you be more upset if this movie won an Oscar for teaching a white man how to be a white man by a black guy? Is that more offensive?
Ooh,
Or
that's
is it
good.
more physical?
No,
No,
Green
I
Book
would
is
have
way more
accepted
offensive.
this.
Yeah, Green Book is way more offensive. I believe that black people are better than white people at a lot of things and can teach them some things, right?
Yeah,
There ain't no way in hell that particular white man in Green Book could teach that particular black man how to do anything. I was a genius artist.
Besides
And this
throwing a
dude, this
punch.
dude was right.
Yeah,
And
that's a fair.
That's about
He
it.
was a thug.
Right. He was a goon. Nah, yo.
Literally.
Nah.
God damn it. It's so fucking offensive, yo.
No, you got to eat the
It's really
skin.
offensive.
I mean,
you gonna
because
love
you do
chicken
have
backs.
you have because you do have these two black men who are doing labor to teach this white man how to white. So
Nah, yo, he'd have picked it up. Like that's
Yeah,
the thing. That's the thing with poor white people is that like
They can
that's the thing that rich white people tell poor white people. It's like you got the potential to be. You could be us. You could be us if it weren't for them. You could be where we are if it weren't for them, right? Like,
Yep.
so they have the mentality that they can achieve whatever they want, right? And
It's true.
for the most part, they do have options, right? Like, never forget that Chris Rock line of, there's a one-legged busboy that wouldn't trade places with me, and I'm rich.
I'm rich.
It's fact.
I'm gonna ride this
Fucking
white thing
smart.
out.
See where it takes me. That's absolutely true, dude. So yeah,
Before hold on, wait.
Yeah.
Best Picture of 2019: Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Green Book, Roma, A Star Is Born, and Vice. Those were the fucking Oscar nominations for Best Picture.
One. Before we even get into how absurd it is that it beat those movies, Vice should never have been on that fucking list.
That movie wasn't very good.
It was not good.
No,
It was not
it
good
wasn't.
at
I
all.
thought you liked it.
No,
Vice?
the
That's
Cheney movie.
yeah.
No,
No.
Oh.
no. I thought that was bad. And I wanted it to be good. I really did. It shouldn't have beat A Star Is Born. Get the fuck out of here.
It shouldn't have beat Black Panther, nigga.
No,
Like,
yeah,
what
absolutely not.
Like,
Yeah.
no. A Star Is Born next to maybe Roma
Yeah, or
and
Rome.
Black Klansman. No,
Yeah.
either A Star Is
Yeah,
Born,
and Black
Roma,
Klansman
or
either. What the fuck? There's a movie about race that should have definitely won over
Green Book one. Like, that's again
over
I
Black
will never
Klansman is
forgive.
crazy. That's
nuts.
absolutely nuts.
What a
just
perfect example of what we were talking about earlier, right? Black Klansman, a movie about race, directed by a black director, not afraid to pull punches. Green Book.
Yeah.
I don't have anything
So
else to say
fucking
about Green Book.
ridiculous. Man.
It just is.
No,
it's
look,
just
man.
wild.
I mean, we live in, to be like, a bit serious for a second. We live in an era of, we are watching white conservative Americans desperately trying not to teach American history, especially American history that deals with our personal history, Latin, history, gay folks' history, trans folks' history, all of that. Anything that is not white and conservative, right? Or just like generic American history. Stories like this particular story in The Banker, should be a part of larger American history that is taught and be like, oh, actually, this did happen. This is kind of an interesting thing. Here's like, changing banking rules and stuff like that. They even did that to prevent black people from owning banks and, owning real estate and things like that, right? This should be a part of it. Black Klansman is a story about how basically a black cop tricked the fucking KKK, and made them look foolish. And this idea that black people are inferior intellectually and all this other stuff simply wasn't true. And it's actually funny because in that movie, like, you have a black guy and a Jewish guy teaming up against abject racism. How did that not win in fucking Hollywood in that year over Green Book? That sanitization of what racism truly is and race relations in this country is incredibly dangerous, right? It's the Santa Clausification of Martin Luther King Jr., right? White people are like, but he said, just judge everybody by the content of their character. He didn't say just be racist bigots towards black people, but just don't judge them by their skin color. That's not what the fuck he said, but that is the shit that they are taught, or rather that they're not taught, and they just fill in the blanks. It is incredibly dangerous to let white people fill in the blanks about American racial history. It is a terrible thing because, frankly, white people, when it comes to racial history, are pretty goddamn dumb. They're pretty fucking dumb about it because they just absolve themselves and their ancestors over that shit every time. They never think they did anything wrong. And so that's just a bit annoying. And again, the fact that beat out Black Klansman that year is fucking stupid.
The fact that it beat out half of those nominees is mind-boggling to me.
Look, I don't think Vice should have been on the list.
Yeah,
but I would have given Vice
a better movie.
Yeah, the Vice is a better movie. If they were like Vice won, I'd be like, who's the competition? Only Green Book. I'd be like, all right, that makes sense. Like, that's it. It should have been Green Book at the bottom, Vice, and then everything else above it.
Green Book.
I don't know if I've seen Green Book or not.
Not nominated.
You haven't seen it?
Honestly, you would probably be like, "Oh, this isn't so bad. It's not good."
No, I don't. I don't know if I've seen it. And no, I don't.
It's like this. It feels like a very Disney version of racism.
No, I saw
that movie offended my senses. It offended my sensibilities. Right, I swear to God.
I just remember how
mad.
That's what I remember. Maybe that's probably why I feel like I've seen
Terrence
it.
Being really angry about it. I mean,
I don't think I would be as upset if it didn't win Best Picture. I'd be like, yeah, this movie fucking sucks. But the fact that they gave it Best Picture, I have I just got this burning hatred for that fucking movie. I will never forget.
Yeah,
that made me hate what's his name for a little bit. Not gonna lie.
Viggo
Mortensen.
No,
Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali, because he won the fucking Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, he did win for that.
No,
I didn't mind. I didn't mind his portrayal. I didn't think his portrayal was good, but I didn't think the movie was good.
I don't even think he was that good in the movie. I didn't like.
He's definitely been better in other things.
Better in everything else. Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
and everything 100%. Else he's been in, he's been better, and he won a fucking Oscar for that shit.
It's his second Oscar, which is crazy.
Yeah, he was really good in fucking Moonlight.
He was excellent. Yeah,
but he wasn't in it that much. That's the other thing. Weird.
Didn't
Hollywood's odd. Sorry, but didn't mean to derail the whole thing. But fuck.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So fast forward. This white man has taken to golf like a duck to water, and so he ends up playing golf.
White man.
Yeah, now he could figure out how to play golf
very quickly.
30 minutes or 30 days rather, which is weird because I played golf. And golf is really fucking hard.
Golf is tremendously hard, and it will fuck your back up, dude. Yeah, I played 18 holes one time, and when I say one time, I meant one time. Like, that's it. I've never picked up a set of clubs again because that killed my back, man. Golf Terrence, you would fall apart by the end.
Yeah, I probably would have a bad.
You got back issues? Nah, yo. Stay away from golf, yo.
Tiara laughed so hard her internet connection went down. God damn. Shit went to like 18p.
I wasn't expecting Mike to say that. I'm like, goddamn. And
That's funny.
also, I just don't like the fact that he learned math or algebra, whatever the fuck they were teaching him so fast while playing golf. I
Well,
I don't.
Yeah, they made
they
this
said
like
that
they made them
they said,
Superman. Yeah, it was
they
weird.
said that now the movie says that he doesn't know it. Well, at first he didn't know it,
Just
but
memorize
he has a good memory and he memorized it. Which is still like
impressive.
remarkable. Yeah, because you're memorizing a bunch of gibberish, right? Like, especially the way this movie disseminates it. First of all, movies when it comes to like realism, like Jay, whenever you see a movie and there's like IT stuff going on,
No, yo,
like,
don't. Like, this shit makes me so angry, yo. Like, stop doing that.
Like, oh, look, I'm gonna hack the computer. Oh, it looks like you need help. Here, let's double hack.
Yo, that's a real thing, by the way. That's a real. You can look it up on YouTube.
Like
yo, on
NCIS.
NCIS, yo, they did double hacking. It was two people typing on one keyboard. Yo, it was like, yo, what even is this? That makes no fucking sense.
Wait a minute, that's not how it works.
That's twice as fast. Like, nigga, what are you doing?
So I'm curious to see
how they were in sync. That they were typing in sync, so they could all type. Like, you know what?
I'm curious to see how
Your drugs are calling.
What the nonsense that is spewed in this movie, like how accurate it is. I really wanted History versus Hollywood to do this movie, but I couldn't find anything on it.
No, because nobody gave a fuck. Just like the three of us, the four of us, all forgot that we were doing this movie from a week ago of us announcing it. We all separately forgot the name of the movie, and we're like, "Oh shit, that's right." Yeah, indicative of this movie, and we hadn't even seen it, except for TR, who's seen it 14 times.
Don't do that.
That's what you said.
No.
Check the tape. So he has a meeting with the head of this bank, and he's like, Nicholas Hoult's character is like 1.5 gigawatts or whatever, and he's like, yeah, that's correct, and he just feeds him a bunch of bullshit numbers that he remembers. He has no idea what it means. It's just fucking German to him. But he's a white man, so he seems pretty cool. And so he's like, all right, well, I guess I'll sell you the bank for, whatever, like $1.5 million. And so they get it. They buy the bank. They decided they're going to buy this bank because that's the other side of the real estate business. Buying the bank's building is going to give them what they need, right? They do all this, then they buy the bank, and basically this is the other side of the real estate business, right? So now they're in the walls. Like now they can control giving loans to black people and do their thing, right? Which is actually smart and quite impressive, right? The extortion scheme of owning the bank building seemed very short-sighted. Owning a bank is a very different thing. So that's what they do. Shit is going really well until some schmarmy dick who works at the bank is like, he's the owner's son, is like, hey, I noticed you're lending a lot of money out to a bunch of people. You did 19 new loans. Who's Jethro Bodine or whatever like black name they would come up with? And
it was like Solomon Johnson.
Yeah, he was like,
yeah, that's a pretty black ass name.
Like, that doesn't sound like an Irishman to me.
That was when he went to Texas.
Yeah, that was when he went to Texas. We're still in California, and he's basically a lot of this is like, hey, we were able to buy the bank. This is the scheme that we're going through. We're living life in LA. Right. And then he goes home to Texas. He has a heart-to-heart with his dad. His dad says something that my father rarely says to me. He says, "I'm proud of you, son." And Anthony Mackie's character takes his son out. He's like, "Come on, son, let's see where the poor people live, because you got to know where you come from." even though he didn't really come from that. But I understand what he's doing, right? Like my parents did that for me, right? Let's go down to 20th Street and see how these people live, right? Like why is that mailbox red? Well, that's for used drug needles, not for mail. Oh, all right. So he goes over. They're in Texas now. They're on the other side of the tracks. He literally says, "We're gonna go to the other side of the tracks," right? And
one white person wrote that down, and 3 other white people high-fived each other in a room, like they did.
Don't forget, Tyler Perry had a nigga in a trailer park on the other side of the tracks.
Yeah, quite literally on the other side of the tracks in Acrimony.
In Acrimony, you're right. Forget that tour de force of a film.
Not to be outdone, this movie does the same thing. This movie has a shot where he's on a bridge and he crosses the bridge, and below the bridge there are train tracks. So,
Jay,
metaphor.
Yes.
You talked about that a black director should have done this.
Don't do that.
Tyler Perry?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're better than that. You're better than that.
I'm just asking questions.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. When I think about a serious Tyler Perry movie, I don't want him to do like historical black anything. I need him like give me some like wronged women and some piece of shit dudes like that, but like make it serious. Like give me a murder mystery type of shit. That's what I want. I don't need him delving into anything historical. No, thank you.
That wasn't what I asked.
For this movie, I think you have my answer. I think I did answer it.
No, it's either the group that did this movie or him. Or do you think that you will get the same result?
That's a good question. Does he know how to deal with racism? I'm not sure that he really has. Right? Does Tyler Perry have any movie that kind of digs into like
his last movie he did that none of y'all watched, the Jazz Man's Blues? Well, no, that was more like colorism and a little bit of racism mixed in. Was
the family of praise not?
Stop it.
No. Like if he'd have directed this movie, like Anthony Mackie's wife would have fucked Nicholas Hoult. There's some wild shit like that. Like I couldn't like you cheat on.
Then they would fought each other in the Oval Office.
Right? Yeah, Nicholas Hoult and his wife would have been in a fist fight in the first fucking opening scene,
and then would have ended up with AIDS because that's how it ends.
Well, right, that's a wayward woman. That's what happens. That's science.
It walks with
so Jay would prefer Tyler Perry to do this movie.
I would definitely not prefer Tyler Perry to this movie. But again, I'm not sure. Like, it's only up from here, so maybe. Like, I don't know. It's pretty bargain basement bullshit right now. Where are we? Can we just get to Texas?
I don't know.
They're in Texas, right? And Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie takes his future sexual predator to the bank, and he's like, "Yeah, son." He's like, "Hey, let's get a shoe shine." He's like, "Sorry, sir, only white. I only shine these black hands. Only shine white toes." And
can you imagine what kind of racism that is?
That's insane.
I can't even shine the shoes of a black man with nice enough shoes to get them shine. Only white men. You're like, yo, I kicked that little kid. Like, yo, get the fuck out of here. Wake up, boy.
That's insane.
So he's looking at the bank and he's like, yeah, I remember that fucking bank, that old bullshit ass bank. I'm gonna get your ass bank. And then he goes back to Sam Jackson and he's like, yo, I talked to my friend Tiara and she had a really good idea. Let's buy this bank and help black people.
Why am I in it?
And help black people for some strange reason. And Sam Jackson was like, what? You're gonna bring the property values down. You're gonna default on all these loans. You give out these loans to black people. Are you crazy? See? Samuel L. Jackson and Micah. Right here. right together.
Again,
2 peas in the pod.
And Samuel Jackson's character calling what this is, which is just social activism through real estate. And
look, I'm not mad at it.
No,
I'm not
not
mad.
either.
No.
He was right.
This is what
He
you.
was
This is what
100%
you're
right.
supposed to. Right. This is what you're supposed to do. Right. Like this is why we need to have more. I mean, I hate to sound
landlords.
I hate to sound Killer Mike-ish, but like we do need to own more. We do need our own bank, not our own banks, but like we need to own banks.
No, we do need our own banks. That's true. Like we need more black-owned banks. Maybe
we need
look,
banks.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Give us insane fucking interest loans. So we do default on them because they're so fucking high.
Yeah,
right.
I can't.
That's what I'm saying.
Right now.
When you say we need our own banks, that makes it seem like we only do business with black people, and that'll only get you so far.
No, because the banks can't make money on that either.
Right, the banks can't make money on that. So,
y'all, black capitalism would not save us. So I don't even know what y'all are talking about.
Look. Let me make this.
I mean, we could try, can't we? God damn it!
Y'all just gonna be sad and broke all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Fuck that. The robot's gonna be here in 30 years, yo. You got a limited amount of time.
Y'all still trying to reach the American dream through capitalism.
Look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. That I appreciate. I truly do. I appreciate young people's view. Is changing on, capitalism and realizing that it does a lot of damage in society. I get that. That's great. Nothing wrong with that perspective. Here's what I'm going to need y'all to do. Y'all motherfuckers are like 20 years old talking about how your long spans of your life is. A lot of the shit you say is very wrong. Oh, don't own property. That's evil. Okay. What do you think all these motherfuckers who have money do? Real estate is the number one way to make money that is legal. That's the fastest way to make money in this country. It absolutely is. It is. How do you think generational wealth happens? It's through real estate, dum-dum. That's what it's through.
Look, I understand what they're saying, right? I understand what they're saying. What I'm saying is I'm not trying to hit a home run on a football field, right? I'm trying to play the game that I'm in. You know what I'm saying?
Yo. Exactly.
Like, if you want to change the game, hey, young person, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, let's go. Let's rock and roll.
I'm in the middle of my life. I don't know how well I'm going to help, but if you want to change the game, I'm all for it. But while I'm stuck in this game, I'm gonna try and win. I'm gonna try and go for a touchdown and not a fucking.
I'm not trying to hit a home run on a football field. That's a great line, yo. That's a great line. Yeah, you gotta. Sometimes you gotta play the game that you're in. You just do.
No, I hope someone comments and says how the three of y'all are sellouts for wanting to get rich in white man's America.
America.
Go. Two of us left.
I'm sorry.
Best of luck with all that.
Two of y'all. Adios, Jay.
Yeah. Adios, indeed.
Right.
Nah.
Vaya con Dios.
Yeah. Next time y'all
little lingo working out for you.
Yeah, it's pretty good actually. Look, next time y'all see me, episode 242, I'm gonna do that shit in a sombrero. I think there is a real damaging aspect of I've seen over the last number of years, and you're starting to see it kind of come to fruition, is a lot of young people convincing themselves that getting further education is a waste of money. And now it's, I can't find a job. Well, do you have
conservatives?
What's that?
I blame conservatives.
Look, college is expensive. Certifications are expensive, right? It's not just college, but additional education is expensive. But people literally, and it isn't conservatives, who convinced other young people that getting anything past a high school diploma was a waste of time. And people bought into that shit, and now they're reaping what they sowed, and they cannot find jobs. And that's a real fucking problem. Telling people that real estate is evil and being a landlord is evil. Meanwhile, all these other kids are being taught by their parents, hey, buy this property, learn to flip it, own property and make money. You can call those people pieces of shit all you want. Meanwhile, you can't get your fucking hand fixed if it gets broken because you don't have insurance. Play the game that you're in. You should work to change the game. I got no problem with it. But you cannot just pretend that I just throw your hands up and go, the system sucks, and never try. That's what I see a lot of people doing, and it's a mistake.
Here's what I think, because I see a lot of that too. But also, I think a lot of them are full of it. I don't think a lot
on the
of
internet
believe on the internet.
Yes, of course.
The reason why I say that because I see people I know in real life who say things of that similar sentiment, and I'm just like, but I know I've had real conversations with you. Mm-hmm. You don't believe in anything that you're saying. Like you still want to own property, but it's just not the cool thing to say online. And it feels a lot of that stuff feels very performative to me. Not like, of course, that's stuff that they're actually adhering to in real life. Like the second that one of their family members dies, and if they're white, they'll probably be left something. They're going to take advantage of the shit right away.
You should. You'd be dumb,
and they will. I mean, they're not going to be like, yeah, my uncle or grandfather left me a house, so I'm just going to not take it because
real estate homeless people move into it. Like I doubt.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. No, shut up, just shut up. I asked somebody once. They were like, "Oh, landlords shouldn't exist." I was like, "Cool." So how do you? Again, that sounds great on a bumper sticker, but let's go into reality. So where do people who cannot afford a house? Where do they live? What's your answer? Communes? What the fuck are you talking about? It's 2023, yo. People gotta have a place to live.
Well, the problem with the landlords is what these current landlords are doing is there are brand new apartment buildings, right, that have vacant apartments in them that they don't rent out.
Yeah, they Airbnb them
on purpose. No, they don't even do that. They just sit vacant. But the ones that they do rent out, they jack the prices up for people that will be able to afford them. So
look, those I'm not saying that there aren't plenty of shitty landlords. That's not my
$3,600 a month. I mean, but there's nothing wrong with being there's nothing wrong with being a landlord. It's just the practices that they do now.
100%
fucked up.
Right. I have no problem with.
Yeah, there's no problem with it. Just be fucking fair.
Right. Just be fair.
Stop jacking up prices when they don't deserve to be that fucking high.
Right. Oh, you need to spend $2,000 for a one-bedroom apartment in Baltimore with rats. Nigga, knock it off.
You know how much those apartments are at fucking Mill Run Station? Right by the train station? The things are like $3,500 a month.
What?
For what?
Crazy
Nigga,
high.
that's more than my mortgage.
I'm serious, yo. Some of them are up to $3,500. It's insane.
That's stupid.
They're nice.
But again,
you live above a fucking subway.
Right.
What are you talking about,
Right. But again, then you still hear people say home ownership is a scam. Is it?
No.
Is it?
No.
My mortgage costs less than that, and you guys have been to my house. I don't live in a fucking dump.
But you know, it's funny because there are places here where some people can probably afford the mortgage, but won't get approved to actually buy a home. But I don't even know how many people are familiar with the home buying process anyway.
I don't think a lot of people are.
To realize that there may be options for you to make it more affordable. A friend of mine just bought a triplex, and she is renting 2 of them out. But she got
your friend is a filthy, disgusting landlord. But go ahead.
But here's the thing: she's someone that got help from her mother for part of the down payment, but everything else, she got her down payment reduced, I think down to maybe 2 or 3%, and then got help with everything else from just from doing the first time home buyers program here. Wow. And she's renting out the other two units, which have their own, I think their own garage or driveways, in unit, everything, for maybe 3.1 to 3.5 a month.
3,100?
Yeah.
God bless. Is this in LA or is this?
Yeah, it is here in LA.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's cheap. If it was in New York, that it'd be a Matchbox for $9,000.
Yeah, I'm not paying no 20 or whatever number you said, Terrence, in fucking Baltimore.
Yo, that's
sorry.
It's insane.
Excuse me, that's
No.
Baltimore County. Relax.
No.
Yeah, that's insane. But to the point, like, I need people to understand that, like, I get it. You see a lot of rhetoric online. Don't let that shit wreck your life where you just refuse to try. Because
Especially
there is a lot.
Everyone is full of it.
Yes,
Everyone's full.
it's a fucking lie, dude.
People are lying to you.
Also, people who own real estate. Yeah, you shouldn't own real estate. That's crazy. Don't do that. Let me buy it all up. Like, niggas lie, yo. They do. They do. It is the fastest way to make legal money in this country. And that's not even being a landlord. Like, just buying a house and then taking that, selling it, and buying another house. Like, you know, moving somewhere else. Like, it is the easiest way to make upward mobility.
And to Terrence's point, what Jay is not saying is that there aren't, like, real issues with landlords and property management.
Of course there are.
And what they're allowed
always,
to do.
but that's been a thing since forever, right? Like, there's always been piece of shit landlords. There was a fucking Joe Pesci movie called The Soup, right? Like, remember that? The Super, right? Like, remember that. I love that. Give me the rent. Give me the rent. I love that movie. It was fucking hilarious. But, like, there's always a piece of shit, you know, slumlords and shit. Like, that's existed. One of them used to be the former president of the United States. What the fuck? So, and his piece of shit, you know, son-in-law. So, that hasn't changed anything. That's not new. Now, raising rents to $3,000 and all that other shit, that's stupid. Like, there's no excuse for that. That's just being
That's
greedy.
crazy.
Yeah.
Shout out to some of us who live in rent control apartments.
300. What?
Hey, I'm moving into a rental property, and it's rent control for 3 years, right? So, like, yeah, like I get it. I don't want the price to go fucking through the roof either. That's fucking
calm
ridiculous.
down.
What? I'm renting a house.
For like $75 a month.
It's not $75 a month. It's not that expensive. Again, via convenience.
I hope it has like
myself.
5 bedrooms too.
No,
So I can come visit.
No, I don't have that many
for
bedrooms.
vacation.
I wish it did. So yeah, all right. Let's just get to fucking Texas. Who gives a shit?
They're in Texas, and he's like,
right.
I want to buy this fucking bank. He says this is a ridiculous idea, but I'm in.
Right, and then they get audited. They get audited. Shit goes south. And Nicholas Hoult's character fucks up, and he gets the wrong lawyer to do the paperwork or whatever. So it looks like the banks are unstable, and the FDIC come in and shut the banks down. And then Anthony Mackie and Samuel Jackson are put on trial along with Nicholas Hoult. And you know, Anthony Mackie does the thing you do when you want to look really smart. You take your glasses off, right? Dramatically. And he gets up there and he makes this Falcon and the Winter Soldier ending level speech.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I thought the exact
so
same thing.
true.
Like, Jesus Christ. Man.
She's not a terrorist. Yes, the fuck she is.
Take that goddamn headpiece off
Like,
for the
quite
love
literally
of God.
by the definition of terrorism. You know? Like, it's
Like, why did I have to label her that? Because did you not see what she did?
Bro,
Like,
there was 7 episodes before that was like kind of crazy.
yeah, he really Van Jones that speech, didn't he? Like, he was like, yeah, but I kind of see where the terrorist is coming from. Like, yeah,
she was
but,
just
like,
she was
can't
sad.
say
She
that.
looked really sad, Micah.
She was like a sad grandma. She was just
I don't
a
like the
sad
prison
grandma.
system for anybody.
That nigga's a fucking clown, yo.
that's gonna be my new insult for people. Bro. That's gonna be my new insult for people. All right, Van, shut up, Van. Right? Like,
Yeah.
That's gonna be my new thing for people.
Halfway to tears and shit. Shut your bitch ass up.
Like, what the fuck are you
Lord,
crying
yo, what is
for?
wrong with you, yo?
Imagine feeling sorry for someone that tried to overthrow the government because it's constantly like,
How do you feel,
I feel
sorry
sad.
for a rich, white, racist landlord
Billionaire.
that
Traitor.
that tried to kill his fucking his goddamn vice president and is
But, you know,
and is a criminal. I don't like the justice system.
like if
Shut
there's
up.
a prison system for if anyone should go to prison, is that dude?
But
He's the poster child of a criminal.
But
he's
Paw
not
looks sad.
And, like
All I saw was a
wrong with
sad
that nigga,
grandpa. All right, yo.
No,
All right.
again,
Like, really, what's
shut
wrong
up.
with him? What's his problem?
Look.
What's wrong with
Sometimes people need to get punched in the stomach in public. Like I really feel like that's true.
Like, it's
Punch right in the stomach.
Such a weird stance. And what's his name? What's the guy with the silver hair? Was like, nigga, what's your problem?
Anderson Cooper.
What the fuck? Yeah, Anderson Cooper was sitting there like,
I don't like any of this.
like, I don't
Get this guy
fuck
off
wrong
my
with you?
stage. So they lose the trial. They do 3 years. And
Sentence
9
3 years, do 9 months.
do 9 months, right?
We just blew through the whole half of this movie.
Dude, I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, it's really
super
not a lot.
fucking
It's
done.
really, it's not. Yeah,
Anthony
I think people
Mackie gets
understand
out.
the gist.
Yeah, Anthony Mackie gets out. He walks over to his longtime partner. His partner gives him the shield. He stands there very weirdly at the end with new facial hair, and they ride off into the sunset. And Nia Long is there as well. In a terrible wig.
She's so pretty, and they did a good job of making her look.
Nah, yo, this is
like
a Tyler Perry
No,
level wig, yo. It's a shake and go wig, yo. It's not good, yo. I don't like it. Yo. I don't care.
That's what I said. She's usually she's always gorgeous, but
Yes.
they made her look
Homely,
like that.
homely.
yeah.
Homely's definitely a word.
That's the
Homely's
word.
actually that's a great word. Actually, yes.
Yeah, she
Very
don't
homely.
look ugly. She just she's looking way too plain Jane to be Nia Long. It's like,
Yes.
why does this plain Jane ass woman look kind of like Nia Long? It's like, good for her. She should try harder, right? Like she almost there because they put in that terrible ass wig.
Also, Matt didn't do any time because he was faced with 50 years in prison, and they made a deal with him to, I guess, stash their money somewhere so that when he got out of prison and the money wouldn't touch the government wouldn't touch their money, they could just like go to like the Bahamas or whatever. So that's what happened, right?
Well, not exactly. So he didn't
Okay.
stash their money. The government hadn't seized all of their money. So I guess at night he called up the Bahamas and was like, "Can I get a couple of houses on the water?" He called up Freeport because that's where black people go, and he bought a couple of houses down there, and so that's where they moved. And then I told you earlier they got screwed over and had to come back to America. And then,
Also-
they marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A couple years later.
Well, also part of the reason why they got caught is because the white dude screwed it up.
Yeah.
Because he thought he could own his own bank, and his wife was like, "They can't be. They're not smarter than you. They can't be." And I was like,
Yeah, I didn't care
A
for
white
that.
woman said that. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
And then he was like, "Yeah, they
my
can't be
friends.
smarter than me. I want to buy my own bank."
No, in
right.
fairness to him, he was
Well,
like, "Yo,
in
those are
fairness,
my
he was
friends.
like,
Yo,
yo,
don't talk like
Don't
that.
talk like that, yo.
Yeah, like,
what's
why
your
you-
problem?
Yeah, like, why you being a real Karen right now? Like, the fuck is your problem?" She was like, these black fellas, like,
Yeah.
showing your true colors in the final minutes of the film there.
He was like, "But they're my friends." He was like, "They're my friends," and she was like,
Interesting. Yeah, will they be your friends when you go to jail? You guys gonna be in the same gang? No. That's not how that works. So, yeah, so that's the end of the movie. And then weirdly, for some fucking reason, the movie has credits, and some of the credits are in Cyrillian alphabet, and then some of them are in Chinese. Okay.
I didn't
Right, I
notice
must
that.
have turned off
Yeah.
that time.
And look, you could say, well, maybe that's your stolen copy. No, that's on Apple TV. So what the fuck is that about? I don't know. I thought I was going
I
crazy.
just like seeing
How else are you
going
going to be nominated for a Rooster Award, Jay?
right. Just throw some fucking Cyrillian
this was
language.
really
in there.
this was really nominated for a Rooster Award.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not bullshitting you. This is
Well,
nominated
this-
for something called a
Oh.
Rooster Award.
Yeah, well, they really cocked this movie up, so yeah, that's about right. Stinks.
I did like seeing the photos of the real Bernard Garrett and the real Joe Morris, and then being like, Samuel Jackson looks nothing like him.
Oh,
And-
neither
Neither did
one
Anthony
I agree.
Mackie.
Right. Anthony Mackie's character, I was like, okay, I think they got the
Anthony
wrong guy to
Mackie's
play that.
character like Kwesi and Fume. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, oh,
He
okay.
had a wild, large widow's peak. Like, come on. So they didn't even try to give Anthony Mackie one. They were like, "Don't even worry about it. You got it."
They didn't try with Morris either. I was like, they
Nah.
like
And she got
They-
like Wendell
nobody
Pierce.
knows who these guys are. Nobody knows
Yeah,
who
that's
you
true.
are. Nobody knows what you look like.
Nah, they should have got Faison Love to play Joe Morris. Like he looks more like him than Samuel Jackson.
But you know,
They should have got that guy. Looks like Jason Whitlock to me, yo. Like,
yes, that's exactly who it looks like. But you know, I do think it's a shame because this, like you said, this is a really good. Like the premise is really good. The historical background is really good, but just the execution.
Not good, man.
Yeah, white people.
I
Offensive.
don't. Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't. I think we've said it enough. But everybody who is in this movie, is so good. Is very good, but not good enough to elevate a very
Piss poor
safe, mediocre script.
that is correct. Womp womp.
Mm-mm-mm.
Not good. Not good at all. All right, that is it. Thank God for episode 241. The Banker Goes to Green Book. So yeah, we'll be back with preview episode for episode 242. Something lighter, I guess. Not bad. Not worse than this. And we will see you guys next time.
See you.
Take it easy.
Bye.
You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of black movies, past and present. And every other week, we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the black community.